paint they're intended for, oil paint, duh, rags or paper towels to wipe your brushes on, a palette. I'm using a piece of glass that I took out of a picture frame and taped a gray piece of paper to the back of it. Make sure you tape all along the sides because the edges can be sharp and I've cut myself on them by accident before, so be careful. And since oil paint is not water soluble, you will need a solvent capable of thinning the paint and cleaning it off your brushes. I use Gamsol, which is 100% pure odorless mineral spirits. It's also the standard for a lot of art schools and classroom settings because it's the safest. You'll also need some kind of container to hold your solvents and mediums. I'm using a jar from groceries and a little sauce dish. And lastly, you will need a glass scraper, which you can find at any hardware store and even some local pharmacies. This will be used to scrape the dried up oil paint off of your palette. In my opinion, this is the best way to clean your palette. I'm using a table on carpet, so that's why it's wobbling. As for colors, if you are a beginner painter, I suggest buying an introductory set to start off with, which is less expensive than artist grade oils, and it will contain all the essential colors you will need. Check the description of this video for a link to that and all the other products I will mention in this video. I've put together a list of basic, common colors that would make a great palette for skin tones, nature, and just about anything. Titanium white. I have a ginormous tube because this is the color I run out of the most, so I thought I'd make my life easier by just getting a huge tube. Mars or ivory black will work just fine. Yellow, a bright yellow like cadmium yellow light, lemon yellow, or Hansa yellow light, all of these will work. Yellow ochre, which is a dark earthy yellow, burnt sienna, raw umber, alizarin crimson, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, and sap green. If you want to go a step further, you can add cerulean blue hue, phthalo blue, emerald, or viridian green. Once you get some practice and you decide you want to keep oil painting, you can continue to grow your collection to other colors. For instance, I'm in love with Gamblin's Radiant line, and I've used so much of these colors in my water and flower paintings. I don't use a lot of black paint in my work, it tends to be a bit too pigmented for me, so instead I mostly use